So in the Cooper Road mini shop, in the garage here, along with our getting famous Wild Green 66 Cooper S, we have a visitor. This is a car with some history, actually. This goes back to the 90s, as far as I can tell in the existing logbook. It is an SCCA racer from the GT Light class. I guess they run them in all sorts of events. Anyway, this gentleman has purchased it recently, sent it to me to have a look at it and hang on to it and get it ready, whatever it needs, if possible. He's going to do this Thunderhill Track Day coming up here this weekend. It's going to be February 15th, 2015. So my friend Carlo just bought this car, and he became my friend because he also purchased that very nice Mark I Cooper S clone that I had here that turned out I had built the engine maybe 10 years ago, and we went through the gearbox. He purchased it from the gentleman that I was talking to, and has that car up at his home in Canada, and then just purchased this kind of on a whim and is out here to take part in this race day. Hopefully to have some fun with this. A little bit dark in here, but kind of a basic setup here. A pre-A plus block, probably about a 40 over, so I'm guessing about a 1310. 1293 maybe if it's only 20. Would put it under 1300. It's got the twin DCOEs with only one tube active. Kind of an interesting setup. That's a typical race setup. I guess these carbs work better with bigger floats. And I won't pretend to be an expert about it, but it is typically done. What I'm doing here is part of looking it over. I've got the rear wheel, just checking the brakes. This side here, Don Racine drove this around our parking lot at Minimania and thought maybe something was dragging. I wanted to have a look at the brakes. Of course, as a race car, you find the usual bits of rubber, any place that something can land off a tire, some gravel. Interesting setup back here. Of course, they've clearanced everything out. A roll cage is attached to the subframe mount area, supported all through. Full roll cage around the driver, of course. Single seat car. This is the KAD aluminum swing arms, so some pretty trick components. The super mini fins, of course. Otherwise, standard rear drum brakes. They've had the parking brake feature removed, so of course hydraulic only. No mechanical parking brake as a race car. The subframe boxed in, running full Carrera coilovers, front and rear. Everything accessible as a race car would be. Here's our little Holly fuel pump. I have an identical one. It's kind of funny on my test stand. Fuel cell back there, of course. Full roll cage connects through, supports the seat. Inside here we've got, let's see if I can grab my light. We've got a removable steering wheel, typical gauge set. Interesting, race cars never have speedometers. Quick release steering, like I mentioned. An interesting little brake proportioning valve arrangement over there where on the fly you can, based on track conditions, maybe weight of the car, other things, you can adjust the bias. Typical, a lot of race cars see those sorts of things. Even street cars can feature that sometimes. This one does have a fire suppression system. Fire extinguisher back there. We can see the big full cage every which way. It's definitely a climb in through the window type of car, through the roll cage. We'll get the brakes back in, we'll get the tires back on, and hopefully we'll have a successful weekend with Carlo driving it around, and then we'll know more about it. It comes with some pretty good specs, but of course it's been a race car for a good 15 years at least, and so we'll see what he thinks of the test track experience, the driving day that they'll have here, the track day. And then we'll go from there if we decide to maybe go through some of the components. Don thought the synchros might have been on the way out, but we'll see how it performs. No sense jumping the gun and doing things that may or may not be necessary. We'll pick up here after we know a bit more about it.